What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the Opinionated Hippie, continuing my deep dive into the Who's live catalog. I started with their most recent release as of this deep dive, Live at the Oval, 1971. I'm going backwards through them. Pretty much the only ones I were familiar with already is anything released in 1970, because I like all the live Who stuff, or the live Tommy stuff, I mean. So I have all those. The other ones I really didn't check out, so this is new to me. Today we have Greatest Hits Live from 2010. I'm going to review this, not play music from it, rank it among all the others that I've already done. So this one is kind of a hot mess. Going into this, I was terrified, not literally, because I thought there was a tour maybe they did around late 2000s in which it was called Greatest Hits Live, and it was just them playing their greatest hits in, say, 2009. That sounded horrible. My least favorite shows are greatest hit shows. I'm a deep cut guy. I want to hear the deep cuts. So I was like, all right, this is going to be rough. Started to listen to it, and immediately I'm like, oh, we got a 1971 version of I Can't Explain. I'm in on this. This is cool. It's going to be maybe their greatest hits throughout the years, sort of a compilation of live stuff. All right, I like this. But then I listened to the first two tracks. It's I Can't Explain and it's Substitute, both from the same show in 1971, Lifehouse. Both of these shows were released on the Who's Next Lifehouse. So I'm like, okay, it's stuff I've already heard, but it was released after this was released. So at the time, it had not been released. So I'm like, okay, I can't fault the release for that, but is it going to be all stuff I've heard? So like I'm going through my head, like is this going to be boring to me? Is this like a release that's just null and void at this point because we have everything else? So I Can't Explain Substitute, first two tracks, great performances, great on those Lifehouse releases, the 1971 shows, great here. Awesome way to open this set. Would have loved it in 2010, not having that other stuff. Then I get the next two songs, or is it the next three? Next two songs, Happy Jack and I'm a Boy. Also two great live tracks, but both of them are from the Hull show that I just reviewed prior to this. So they released this in 2010. We got two songs we've never heard live at Hull. Great performances, by the way. And then their next release would be Hull. So I'm like, okay, is that all this is going to be? Next song is Behind Blue Eyes. This is the same show as the I Can't Substitute. Another one in which the first half of this Behind Blue Eyes is fantastic. Second half, okay. Never been a fan of this song in the studio. Not really a fan of this song live. I understand why it's on here. It is one of their biggest hits. This is a good performance. So I'm 4 songs into it. I've not checked out the rest of what's going to go on here. So I'm a little like, okay, not sure how I'm going to feel about the rest of this. I like these choices. I like these versions, but I'm not ever going to revisit this because I have the complete shows elsewhere. Then we get to song number 5, Pinball Wizard from 1976. I'm not familiar with a 1976 Live Who release. Again, I only know the ones from 70 or the ones that have been released after this. Maybe there was one and this comes from it. I don't know. This is awesome. There's a little bit of nastiness to this Pinball Wizard. It's still just your typical straightforward Pinball Wizard, but there's a raucousness to it. I would argue this is the best live version I've heard of this song yet. Absolutely love this. Next song, I'm Free, from that same 1976 show. The sound is great. The energy is great. It's raw. I'm in. I'm on this. This is fantastic. And then we get an absolute epic drop. We get about a 14, 15 minute Naked Eye with a Let's See action and a My Generation blues version jam. This is amazing. One, let's just address the greatest hits. Greatest Naked Eye, 100% top 5 song, right? I would argue, I mean, top 10, I think you can't argue. Whether it's in the top 5 or not, I'm putting it in the top 5. Naked Eye, one of their best. But was it a hit? Like, I don't ever remember hearing Naked Eye on the radio. Maybe it was a hit. Do they generally package it on the greatest hits? Either way, not complaining. This is amazing. The start of it is just raw. It's rock. The way it comes out of whatever it's coming out of, everything about this Naked Eye is like perfection. They don't really, it's called a medley on the track listing where they put Naked Eye, Let's See Action, My Generation medley. But as the Naked Eye kind of falls apart, they like push the energy, like we're not going to stop playing. We want to keep going. And so it's not really a real like segue into Let's See Action, but they start jamming out. And then I think it's Pete, maybe it's all of them. I think it's maybe more than one. They just start yelling, let's see action. And they start just kind of yelling that out. And they're just kind of jamming this for a while. So we don't really get a full version of Let's See Action. We just get them like yelling like Let's See Action after this whole like noisy segment. And then Pete just starts playing this hardcore blues riff. And the next thing you know, they're singing My Generation over this blues riff and absolutely jamming this thing out. This is end of the show, Who perfection. I was looking at other set lists from this tour to see like maybe they're going to drop a show next year, be the 50th anniversary, right? I'm doing this in 2025. There are some really interesting end of the show jams, songs that they're quoting, that they're dropping in. All of it just looks amazing, both from this tour and the 74 tour, which we're going to get 74 stuff later on this set, or 73 stuff, maybe not 74, 73. No, this is from 74. That's right. This is not from 76. This is a 74 thing. There is some amazing stuff on this 74 tour, but this is just like, this made the whole thing worthwhile. Like, I don't care that I've heard those first 4 songs, the Pinball, I'm Free. Oh, I forgot. There's a squeeze box in there. We get an I'm Free and then a squeeze box. The squeeze box was released on there's a Who by Numbers re-release. This version of squeeze box is on there. And I believe that was released before this. Maybe it was released after this. I don't know. But I know this from by the Who's by Number re-release. Great energy. Solo is super scrappy, super fun. But this run, Pinball, I'm Free, Squeeze Box, The Naked Eye, Let's See Action, My Generation, absolutely amazing. Like, this is like, I'm thinking this is a must. Like, I have to recommend this release just for this alone. Then we go back to 1973 for a 515. Great. It's just the 4 of them. Don't hear any horns, any keys. Really awesome version of 515. There's a rawness to this that is amazing. Towards the back half, we get this loose, jammy energy that really works. Then we get a 73, Won't Get Fooled Again. Moons fills in that second break, both like towards the break and then like as we go into the break, and Moon is just going insane. Won't Get Fooled Again is one of those songs where like that studio version is just such a perfect piece of music that the live versions, I'm like, not raw enough, trying too hard, like always have minor complaints with this song. What Keith is doing in the second half of this, I'm like, yeah, this is one of those versions that needs to be released. Absolutely amazing. Then we get the Leeds Magic Bus, the 1970 Leeds version of Magic Bus. This is from the original Live at Leeds version. Great version. End of the show indulgence. Yes, it's been previously released, but it works really well on this disc because it makes this disc feel like a show. Opening with I Can't Explain, having Magic Bus towards the end. And then we get, to close out, the BBC Sessions version, the same one that's on BBC Sessions, from 1965, of a really early My Generation, raw, chaotic. So, even though sitting here in 2025, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the Squeeze Box, Magic Bus 6, My Generation 7, even though, and maybe this other stuff is released and I just haven't got it yet, even with these things being previously released, this was a amazing first disc listen. The sequencing was perfect. It feels like a show from a 70s era show. Even feels like a late era show with the I Can't Explain substitute openers. Absolutely amazing listen. Sound is consistently good. I absolutely love this. And if they have not released a 76 show, regardless of whether it's this or another one or a 74 show, please do that. This stuff is good. The problem is there's 2 discs. And after the raw immediacy of every single performance on this disc, disc 2 opens up with 5 songs from 1989. As the first time I saw The Who was Oakland Coliseum, 1989. Is about 5 days, not about, it was literally 5 days after this material. And I remember going to that show and be really disappointed. One, it was the Coliseum. 2, our seats were literally center stage, dead center stage, the very last row, all the way up against the concrete on the very top. Now, this was, I think, my sophomore year at Cal. Started, I think, the Monday before this or the Tuesday before this. So we were all back after being gone for the summer. I had been on Dead tour all summer in 89. And we come back and we're all happy to be together. So we had a great time. So visually, being where I was at the top of the Open Coliseum, one of the best experiences I've ever had just watching everything. But I just remember the sound was thin. I remember I was unimpressed. I remember there was a lack of oomph in the performances. And I kind of get this here. I Can See for Miles opens the disc, super anemic. Join Together. I've never really found that they know what to do with this song. And at one point in the beginning, Daltrey goes, "Seats are made for standing on." I've been to Universal Amphitheater. They do not want you standing on their seats. I love that he said that. But and there's an electric, there's a synth piano sound that just doesn't work in Join Together. Musically anemic. But when we get to Love Reign Over Me and we have that horrible electric piano sound, I'm just, no, you cannot do this song if this is the way your piano is going to sound. Baba O'Riley, there's horns in here, right? They're kind of thin. They're in the back. They're not taking over, but the harmonica sounds good. Love the harmonica. Harmonica solo at the end sounds fantastic. And then we get a Who Are You, in which the keyboard sounds, the synth sounds, they just don't work. I don't know why. I'm not feeling this. And there's just like no bass energy. There's just no like lower for all of this stuff. Really disappointing. Then we jump to 2002 and we get a Real Me that's kind of thin, though the bass playing is beastly. Absolutely sounds amazing. There is a sort of nice, loose, jammy quality to the back half of this, but the sound is just thin. And I think if the entire release is 89, 2002 stuff, maybe you get away with that. But when the entire first disc is from the 70s and it just has a raw, just gut-wrenching beastliness to it, you can't then serve me this. It can't compare. Then we get a song I absolutely love, probably my all-time favorite Who song, The Kids Were All Right. But this is the first time where I'm like, ooh, the vocals, yeah, I know we all get old, but I kind of feel it a little more in this one. And then there's a sing-along. And the sing-along is just bad. And I even wrote in my notes, is this intentionally bad? Are they trying to make a point about the kids being all right by showing that they're not? Or like, what? This is bad. Why would you release this? Like, the crowd doesn't sound like they want to sing along. It's just, and it's their best song ever, I would argue. Then the highlight of the disc, Eminence Front, 2009. Killing it. Easily the best thing on this disc. You could have dropped this Eminence Front on disc 1. Might be the weakest thing on disc 1, but I think it kind of holds its own. I think you're like, yeah, Eminence Front, you can come up here in us with the 70s. You're bringing the goods. And then we close out with A Man in a Purple Dress, a newer song. Nice vibe. I like the acoustic guitar vibe. I mean, it's probably the second best thing on this disc. Was that a hit though? Were there any hits off these later albums? Who, or what was the other one? The concept album one, whose name I always forget. Yeah. Were those hits though? I don't know. Anyways, disc 2, I don't see why you would listen to disc 2. Like, put that Eminence front somewhere and revisit that. But I just, the sound is thin. 89, that tour, I don't know what it is. Maybe this is just a bad mix. Maybe I don't know what it is, but I did not enjoy disc 2. Maybe if I had not listened to disc 1, I hadn't listened to The Who for a couple years, maybe disc 2 is like, oh yeah, it's The Who. But when I can just listen to disc 1 and hear some, like that Naked Eye, Let's See Action, My Generation Blues Jam, that thing is epic. If you have not heard that, just go listen to that. It's on YouTube. You'll find it on YouTube. I'm sure this album is somewhere out there. But it's just, it's really good. It's really good. Listen to that. All right. Where would I rank this? I'm torn on where to rank this because I really think that first disc is pretty fantastic. But that second disc is horrible. And so I'm going to put this right there. I have it second to the bottom. I don't want to hear that Tommy Live thing. I did not enjoy that. I did not think that was good. But I thought the orchestral stuff had some pretty interesting stuff. And I just can't ignore the fact that half of this release is kind of unlistenable. And fingers crossed that we get a 74 release, we get a 76 release, and then it just gets dropped to the bottom because you don't need this anymore. But that first disc is strong enough, it makes it better than Tommy, to my ears. But I can't ignore the fact that I'm never going to listen to that second disc again. All right. That's all I got. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, share, comment. Let me know your thoughts on this. Defend that 89 tour, that 89 material. Do it for the sake of The Who. But yeah, thanks for watching. Peace. Talk to you later.